Okay everyone, it's Mr. Younger again. I'm getting to the point where I can actually see the stars pretty well. It does not appear that you can make them out very well at all on here. Even when I try to zoom in on them, let me see. I'm looking right at Ursa Minor and Polaris. Can't even get, there you go. That's Polaris. And then straight, almost straight below that, you'll see two other stars down here. That's Kochab and Pherked, which are the front two Dipper stars. You just saw it for a split second there. So you can actually see them out a little bit. Again, the stars of Ursa Minor are not that bright. The stars of Ursa Major are quite a bit brighter. I can get around this tree. You could probably make out a couple of them over here. There's one, and that's actually the front Dipper star of Ursa Major. Just barely making it out. But the good news is it's not a loss, because the ambient light from Merak, which is what's lighting that part of the sky up and making it so hard for us to see Ursa Major and Ursa Minor. Notice you can now just at the top of the screen, you can just now make out Polaris. There it went down, there it went out of the screen. So just at the center of the screen. Now if I turn to the right, you'll be able to make out something really nice, and it's called the winter circle. So I'll turn around here, and when I get here, you'll see first that star, which isn't that impressive as it stands right now, but if you were actually looking at it, you'd realize it is quite bright. In fact, it was so bright that the ancients used to think that because they knew it was up during the day in the summer, they thought that was part of the reason the summer was so hot. That star is called Sirius, as in Sirius satellite radio. It's named Sirius, and it's in the constellation of Canis Major, so it's called the dog star. So we get phrases like the dog days of summer. So if you go up and to the right of that, at least at this time of year, you'll see another star. In fact, you'll see there's the three stars of Orion's belt. That one in the left hand side that's sort of reddish, that's Betelgeuse. The one that's sort of in the center up towards the top, that's his other armpit. You can see his belt. You can see his scabbard, which is down into the right of his belt, and you can see his front foot and his back foot, his front foot being the star Rigel. So you can see Sirius for the mnemonic that I use is 7 ridiculous astronomers caught colds peering at planets. So this is 7 for Sirius and Canis Major, ridiculous for Rigel and Orion, so you can see Orion quite nicely there. 7 ridiculous astronomers is actually for Aldebaran, and you get an extra treat today, but you see that little V shape there. That V shape is the head of Taurus the bull, and that brightest red star, lowest one that is in fact Aldebaran, which is a star in Taurus the bull. If you look back further, you see the Pleiades. The 7 sisters of the Pleiades are what they call in Japan Subaru, and I think you now know why they have the logo that they do for Subaru. Now we're actually getting lucky in that what we're seeing right there is Mars. That's not a star, that's in fact Mars. So now we go back to our mnemonic that we were working on, and again it was 7 for Sirius in Canis Major, ridiculous for Rigel. Oops, I went too far. Excuse me. Ridiculous for Rigel and Orion. There's Orion's scabbard, Orion's 3 belt stars, Orion's 2 shoulder stars, and his little pea head. So 7 ridiculous astronomers for Aldebaran, and that V, the V should be pointing, the point part of the V points to the right and the opening points to the left. So 7 ridiculous astronomers caught for Capella, which is that star right there in a constellation called Auriga, which is sort of like a pentagon. You can sort of make it out now, but 2 of the sides are jacked up. But that top left star is Capella. So 7 for Sirius in Canis Major, Ridiculous for Rigel and Orion. Astronomers for Aldebaran and Taurus. Then there's Mars. Cult for Capella and Auriga. Codes Peering for Castor and Pollux, which we'll come up on now. The top one's Castor and the bottom one's Pollux. They're part of the constellation Gemini, which you can sort of see as a mirror image of each other. So 7 ridiculous astronomers, to start over again. 7 for Sirius and Canis Major. Ridiculous for Rigel and Orion. Astronomers for Auriga, or excuse me, for Capella. Astronomers for Aldebaran, excuse me, in Taurus. Cult for Capella and Auriga. Codes Peering for Castor and Pollux in Orion. At Planets for Procyon, and as I said, Procyon is part of Canis Minor, and it was named that because they discovered that when this star, Sirius, when it had its heliacal rising, specifically when it rose just before the sun rose, that would be the time that the Nile would flood, which is great, but it's a little late because the Nile's already flooded. But they later discovered that this star, Procyon, in fact, would do the exact same thing. It would have its heliacal rising 2 weeks prior to the dog star, so they could use that to prepare for the flooding of the Nile. So this construct that I just taught you is called an asterism, and it's actually a nice little mnemonic that can help you learn like 6 different constellations. So 7 for Sirius and, 7 for Sirius and Canis Major. Ridiculous for Rigel and Orion. Notice that's his foot star in Orion. Astronomers for Aldebaran and Taurus, and then there's Mars. Cult for Capella and Auriga. Codes Peering for Castor and Pollux in Orion, in Gemini, which again runs off that way. At Planets for Procyon. Procyon should be over here. There it is. Castor, Pollux, and Procyon. Now let me zoom back a little bit so you can see what we're talking about here. So that big circle that we just went through is actually quite easy to see when you're looking in this case, I'm looking slightly south of west. You can see bottom right there is Sirius. Rigel I just put into the field of view on the right hand side. I'll scroll up so we can catch Aldebaran and Mars. There's Aldebaran, there's Mars. I'll scroll left so we can see Capella. And then I'll scroll down and to the left so we can see Castor and Pollux just came in the left hand side, and Procyon here. So that's the winter circle, or the winter football, whatever you want to call it. And now if we turn back to the north, hopefully we can get a better view of Ursa Minor and Ursa Major. Still the light's very bright. I'll show you, I'm slowly going to take Polaris, the North Star, and push it out the top of the screen. It's very near the top of the screen now. Boom. It just disappeared. Now it's back. Now if you look straight below that and maybe slightly to the right, you'll see another star. That's again Kochab. If you make out over here, you can start to see a star in this tree. Actually, now I can't see it. I think a cloud bank might have moved in. So anyways, that should at least help you get some stars. Let's see if you can see Cassiopeia. There you go. So if I'm looking this way, notice right here is north. There's my North Star. I go up higher till the North Star is like right in my line of sight. And I go off to the left, and I see that shape right there. It looks like an upside down house. That's called the constellation Cepheus. And there's actually a satellite flying by it. That's why you're seeing that thing move. So when you see anything that's not blinking but is moving, and it doesn't have a color, it's actually a satellite. And I stand corrected, I just looked at it with my naked eyes, and I think I see color, so it could be an aircraft. Anyways, that sort of upside down house shape is Capella. It's supposed to be the husband of Cassiopeia, and it looks like Cassiopeia is just a little too dim for us to actually see. Let me see again. There she is. Just barely see it. See that M shape, that W shape? Right now it's M because it's right side up, but that's Cassiopeia, so that's another nice constellation. So hopefully that'll help you find some constellations. That's it. Have a good day. Bye-bye.